A lot of so-called patriots love to say that Native Americans are lazy and live off the government. They rarely talk about how much their government borrowed from ours. Before the United States existed, nations like the Haudenosaunee, what people now call the Iroquois, had a confederacy that had laws, councils, and checks on power that lasted for centuries. In the 1700s, in places like Pennsylvania, colonial leaders were writing and saying that if savages could create a peaceful and lasting government that lasted hundreds of years, surely civilized people could do it too. Sure enough, 30 years later, those same colonies built a federal government with laws, councils, checks on power, and a union of states that looks a lot like a confederacy of nations. That's not an accident. That's native political science being copied into the United States government system. And many of our nations weren't chaotic like they said they were. They were matriarchal, or at least deeply influenced by women, with clan mothers having the power to choose or remove leaders and holding men accountable to the community. Traditionally, young men or little boys spent their first few years being raised by grandmothers, aunties, their mothers, learning how to nurture, respect, and care for others. After they're about age 6 or 7, they then went with their grandpas, uncles, and their fathers to learn how to protect and provide. We had laws, responsibilities, clear roles in our societies. Protect the people, feed the people, respect the land. That's not an example of laziness, that is an example of governance. The stereotype of a lazy Indian only really took off after the US had taken our land, banned our ceremonies, destroyed our food systems, shattered our economies, confined us to reservations, and sent our little ones and our younger ones to boarding schools. When you do all of those things and then you call people lazy when they struggle, that is not governance, that is propaganda. So when modern patriots talk about loving the Constitution and the Republic, I want them to know this. Some, if not most of their ideas came from native nations. Nations that they still stereotype as backwards. I'm not saying this or that to divide us. I'm saying if we admit that native nations had law and order, all of this worth copying, then maybe we can drop the lazy, uncivilized myth and start to talk about how we can move forward from all of this with some actual respect. Like the video, follow the page. Have a great day.